Moment when police arrest Andrew McGann in an Arkansas barbershop, charging him with the cold-blooded murder of two parents killed in a state park with their daughters nearby. The stylist who was cutting the 28-year-old's hair says she knew something was off.
He didn't want anything cut from the top of his head. He wanted to hide his face.
Authorities releasing heartbreaking new details about how Kristen and Clinton Brink fought to protect their daughters, only 7 and 9 years old, from the horrors that were unfolding.
They absolutely protected those girls to their fullest extent, to the point that it cost them their lives. We're in awe of this mom and dad.
According to police, the girl's father was attacked first, and then his wife rushed to get their children out of harm's way.
We believe that the mother took them to safety and then returned to help her husband.
Police say the assault appeared to be completely random, and they're trying to understand why McGann, who had recently moved to Arkansas to become a fifth-grade teacher, targeted the couple. The Brinks fought back, police say, as their killer stabbed them, and their fight for survival appears to have helped police crack the case. The suspect was injured, leaving blood and DNA at the scene, and those brave little girls doing their part too, helping police by providing a description of the suspect.
To be able to make this arrest, it all started with those two little girls. It's incredible.
Those brave children and their heroic parents, symbols today of the human spirit despite tragic circumstances. Guys.
That is so true, Pierre. We are thinking about those little girls in the midst of such a senseless attack. Thank you.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises due to the Most High. Here you have the case of Andrew James McGowan, 28 years old, down in Arkansas, who randomly attacked and stabbed a mother and a father to death on a hiking trail in front of their children. He is currently in jail now. Apparently, according to the authorities, he confessed to doing so. But if you notice that article, as I have to point out, this article focuses on the heroicism of the parents and the bravery and courage of the little girls, who was able to identify the cold-blooded savage murderer who killed their parents in front of them. This is a phenomenon that we have seen in these cases where white violence is somehow swept under the rug. We had a whole national outcry, a presidential address about the Charlotte light rail stabbing where a mentally ill black man stabbed a white woman. Now, here we have a perfectly normal, I guess, white boy randomly stabbing a white couple in front of their children, and there's no outrage nor presidential address. And so this case has literally flew under the radar. This happened in August. This is not a long time ago. Yet and still, they are taking even more drastic measures to protect this trial. Now, I'm going to show you some video footage from his arraignment or after his arraignment. But first, let me show you this other video, which gives you a little bit more details into the situation concerning this murderous killer. And these videos are fair use for literary and commentary purposes only.
School teacher is now under arrest in Arkansas, accused of murdering two parents on a hiking trail. The crime has left a quiet community shaken. A husband and wife murdered in a popular state park with their young children nearby. Today, the search continues for answers. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
Arkansas police are working to piece together what led up to the tragic deaths of Clinton and Kristen Brink. The married couple was killed while hiking on a popular trail with their two young daughters, ages 7 and 9. The daughters were not physically harmed.
The information that was put out and the request for information back from the public directly resulted in this person being brought into custody.
Under arrest is 28-year-old Andrew James McGann, a former fifth-grade teacher from Oklahoma who recently moved to Arkansas for a new teaching job, according to Springdale Public Schools. Now charged with 2 counts of capital murder, but he has not yet entered a plea. He's due to appear in court tomorrow.
During an interview with investigators, the suspect indicated that he did commit these murders.
Police say McGann was arrested mid-haircut while at a local barber shop following a days-long manhunt. Last Saturday, the Brinks were found dead on that park trail. Friends of the Brinks are baffled as to why they would be victimized, saying they were kind and genuine.
I'm really struggling to understand why or how this could happen to such sweet people.
Police say they believe the Brinks did not know their killer, that it appeared to have been random. The Brinks were stabbed to death. The two girls are now with family members who released a statement saying, quote, Clinton and Kristen died heroes protecting their little girls and they deserve justice. Alex Stone, ABC News.
All right, so there you see a similar article focusing on, once again, the heroicism of the parents, how sweet they were, as the neighbor said, and the courageousness of the little girls. But less about this school teacher, this school teacher who recently moved to the area, who randomly attacked these people, who didn't know them, who tried to hide his appearance after the murder. And if you look at those pictures, both of them are throughout that video, he looks real evil. That is the definition of evil. And you heard them say that, they didn't know what he was going to plead. Well, the next day he entered a plea of not guilty, even though he admitted to doing so. So I would love to see or hear how this trial is going to go. But let me play you footage of a reporter detailing what happened in the arraignment. Now, the reason why he couldn't actually tell you firsthand what happened in the arraignment is because this judge actually prohibited the arraignment from being publicized or broadcast. Now, why would she do that? My only reason is to protect the lily whiteness of the situation. When white on white crime happen, no matter how heinous it is, the perpetrator is always protected. He's never thought to be a thug, a criminal, a savage, a monster. None of these words were mentioned in any of these articles, and you can go back and read them for yourself. But just watch this video of the reporter trying to explain why he couldn't get into the courtroom. You can't make this up. Fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. Just watch.
Well, it's an interesting day here inside the Washington County Detention Center where Andrew McGann is being held without bond, charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Today was his arraignment hearing. Normally that happens not in this room. There's a waiting room and there's a makeshift courtroom, so to speak, on the few rooms over. Normally those arraignment proceedings are put on a monitor where the public can see and hear. Not today. When we arrived, there was a court order preventing any of that from happening. The public was not allowed to witness McGann's arraignment. Now, he has been, according to the prosecutor, because we couldn't see the arraignment, the prosecutor says McGann has been issued public defenders with the Arkansas Indigent Defense Team. He says coming up next will be preliminary hearings throughout. All those hearings will happen in the Washington County Courthouse, Washington County Circuit Court. He says, the prosecutor, that McGann pleaded not guilty to those 2 capital murder charges. And he says that he doesn't know of any defense attorney that would allow any other pleading in a case like this than a not guilty plea. And as far as timeline, he tells it that this case will take longer than most other cases would take for it to go to trial or to reach a conclusion. And as far as just exactly what that time frame is, we can't tell you for sure, but longer than most other cases is what the prosecutor says. And he also tells us that he was unaware of the order that was posted on the door here, preventing cameras and preventing the public. It was filed late yesterday afternoon, prohibiting that order. Let's take a look at it. It was posted on the door here inside the Washington County Detention Center, prohibiting cameras, broadcasting, other means. It was signed by Crawford County, Washington County Circuit Court Judge Joanna Taylor. Now that you see what that order says, but bailiffs and jailers would not allow anyone in. That meant that what happened today was the public was not allowed to witness this arraignment. Now, attorneys that I've talked to, normally arraignments are public. It's transparency. That's the court process. If someone's accused of a crime, that's a public hearing. But not in this case. We were told that only defense attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, and the judge were allowed to be in that arraignment. So we just talked to the prosecuting attorney. We'll have more on that coming up tonight, of course. We tried to talk to the defense attorneys, but they were not issuing any statements. We'll show you video and tell you more about them coming up tonight. For now, we're live in Fayetteville. Brett Rains, 4029 News.
All right, Brett, thanks so much for this latest updates. Just talking to the prosecutor, Brandon Carter there. Carter told us that this is the hard part. The long walk begins now, and says that McGann's demeanor, that he was quiet and emotionless, and the only thing he said in the courtroom during that arraignment when the charges of capital murder were read to him were not guilty. Again, the state is seeking the death penalty on this. Remember, Arkansas State Police called these killings completely random at Devil's Den State Park, a double murder. McGann is accused of killing 43-year-old Clinton Brink and 41-year-old Amanda Brink on the hiking trail at Devil's Den. 2 daughters were also there with them. They were unharmed.
All right, let's stop it there. Because you see the news reporter totally dumbfounded, like he was at a loss for words, saying, okay, well, these arraignments are normally public accessible. This is transparency. I've never seen an arraignment where they're not, the judges and the jury, they wouldn't let that man near the daggone doorknob of the courthouse. Why? Ask yourself why. Because they are trying to protect the sanctity of whiteness. There is no other excuse. He said, look, he's handled plenty of cases. He can't even, the prosecutors, like, I don't even know. I didn't even know there was an order signed by Judge Joanna Taylor of no relation. But this is a case, once again, of capital murder, where a man is accused of killing a husband and mother in front of their daughter, and they're seeking the death penalty. And yet no one knows about this case. And they're trying to hide this case under the veil of secrecy and try to do this quietly. As he said, there's going to be a long process. And most of the time when cases go on for a long, long time, they normally fade into obscurity. And then by the time they go to court, people have forgot about them. So that's what they are trying to do with this case of the 28-year-old white boy. Now, also, they have also investigated him in connection with a similar stabbing of a 80-something-year-old lady up in Vermont. They're trying to connect the two. Mind you, keep in mind, he just moved to Arkansas. So maybe he was on some sort of random spree. Nevertheless, I wanted to bring this to light because this happened in August. We have not heard anything, but we have heard a lot about the Cincinnati Brawl and the Charlotte light rail, if you've been watching this channel. So I don't know why these other more heinous acts of violence are not getting the publicity that some acts are getting. So you guys see if you can answer that question for me in the comments concerning these cases and all other cases that show a disparity in media coverage. But y'all see the number 919-587-7782. And if you do like this content and continue to want the channel to grow, please click that subscribe button, which helps me to grow and expand and get more exposure to the channel. But I dearly thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to the video. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings.